Hey, pretty girl.
Welcome back to another episode of Pretty Girl Be Healed, where we try every week, y'all. It's been rough, but we stream weekly every Friday night right here on Facebook Live and YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been a little ghetto. I know we've been missing that action for a little bit, but it's been an interesting 3 to 4 weeks, but we're back and we're ready to talk about it. Cause can we be honest?
Yes.
Like our flyer said, our advertisement said, it's been hard. And if I'm being honest, it's been rough. So tonight's episode is going to focus on that point of view, that it's been hard. We're going to be honest, and we're going to dig deep, like our slogan says, dig deep to the root. And we're going to talk about divorcing perfection, which is a very necessary topic. A lot of you were very, very excited for us to talk about it. So here we are. We're ready to talk about the struggle. The flyer should have said the struggle is real.
Yes.
The struggle is
real. What? The warfare been war.
Listen, fighting for my life.
Listen.
Like, no joke though. No joke.
It's this woman. She had a reel out. And it was hilarious. We should have played it. She said, you know what I'm talking about? Yes. And she was like, the weapons that been formed, they seem like they prospering. And she kept going, okay. She kept randomly laughing. Yes, that's that laugh that you laugh to keep from crying.
Listen, because that's what it's been, the laugh to keep from crying, for real. It's been rough, and I've had several conversations with so many people that have led to so much insight, and common themes. You and I talked earlier this week, and I was just sharing with Kawana that there's been so many themes and so many discussions that I've had. And people are struggling. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about our struggles today, but I know that for those that are watching and those that will watch the replay, it's been a struggle. And it's funny because one of the common themes has been that everybody has been struggling in their own way, and that things have come up and things have tried to take us out in one way, shape, or form. Defeat has tried to settle in. Giving up has been an option. I think now is the appropriate time to talk about it because, and we talked about this earlier, and I'm jumping the gun just a little bit, but I need to just say it. We've come to a point in our lives as adults, as teens, or whoever category you may fall in. It's no longer enough to discuss how we got through it. It's no longer enough to say, girl, I've been there, I've done that. And while that story is still important, and while that story still has its place, it's equally important to begin to talk about what we're going through now.
Right.
We want to paint the face, we want to put the lashes on and say, baby, I've been there. But it's equally important for the people connected to us and even the generations coming after us to see, oh, you're going through this.
Yeah.
The
process.
Enough dressing it up, enough of all of those things. It's time to really show the process. So tonight, we're going to open the doors a little bit, crack a window or two, and really begin to show you guys our process, because I'm so serious when I say that this has been rough. This has been rough. I feel like, with so many things coming I kind of found myself like, well, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't really want to say too much because, if you may not know this, but I don't really like vulnerability like that.
She don't.
At
She's
all.
stubborn.
I ain't fitting to do it. No, jokingly but serious. I don't always want to do it. But I think it's important to really show what the walk looks like.
Yeah.
And one of my struggles, full transparency, is that I ain't about to look weak.
Yeah. And I think that, the Lord spoke to me a while ago, and he said, my people need to see my process.
Yeah.
And I think that, ultimately, just like Nakai just spoke to, we have someone and they'll say, I had to struggle here at point A, and then they jump all the way to point Z, and now I don't.
Yeah.
So it just looks like it just magically disappeared. It makes me think about Paul, right? And people always talk about Paul and Paul on the road to Damascus and the encounter that he had with God. However, it wasn't just this instantaneous thing. think he had to go through a journey before he became Paul, the apostle, and did all of the works that he did for the Lord. There was a process. So we just want to talk about the process, and y'all, we still in it. We still in it.
Sorry, but we are. It's the truth.
Yeah, we still in it. We still in it. And I have found, especially in a season where I show people that I don't have it all. And I think one of the things that I can resonate with my fellow pretty girl over here is that I am the one that people come to for help.
Yeah.
I'm the one who is strong for everybody else.
Yeah,
I'm the one
friend
that people come to for prayer. So it almost is one. Would you say that sometimes you don't even, because you are the one that people always come to, do you even feel comfortable? I would say with you, I feel comfortable coming to you to show their weakness. But I think even for, I don't know, because I don't know that I would necessarily share it with some of the folks that come to me necessarily, because I think that I have found, and this is very off topic, I don't know why I'm going here, but I have found that some people just don't have the capacity to handle the weight of what I'm carrying, because I think that if people really looked at our lives and what we have to carry on a daily basis, right? Because what we have to carry on a daily basis is really, by the grace of God, he's given us the capacity to carry it. But I think that it might even be too much for somebody who doesn't have the capacity.
I think that the level of transparency is what makes a difference, because it's still important to be transparent. If somebody is coming to you, it's because they see something in you that they need. But if we're constantly hiding, because I've gotten really good at the autopilot, so let's talk about the autopilot for a second. The autopilot is you're the strong friend, and you're used to being the strong friend.
Yeah.
In my case, I'm the strong pastor. Yeah. I'm the strong therapist. I'm the strong mentor. I'm the strong friend. All of those things, and I've put my life in terms of my feelings on autopilot when it comes to people, because I'm so invested on making sure that you're okay. Yeah. That when the question is flipped, well, how were you doing? By autopilot, I'm instantly, I'm well, thank you so much for asking.
Yes.
When on the inside, I'm crumbling.
Yes.
I am crumbling. But I think to answer your question, the level of transparency does matter, because you're right. There is some people that just don't have the capacity for you to spill the beans and bleed, because it's important to show them, that you do go through, because divorce and perfection looks like you're going to have to tell people that you're going through it, but you don't have to have them in the details, because it's important to teach them how to heal, not show them how you bleed. And that is the difference. The difference is that you have to show them that you're healing. You do not show them that you're bleeding. Yeah. So instead of putting your life on autopilot and say, I'm fine, thank you, when in the back of your head, you're like, yeah. In reality, it's enough to say, you know what, I'm not okay today. Yeah. But God is faithful. I'm not okay today, and I need you to know that I'm not okay today, because they have to see what it looks like to not be okay. Yeah. We walk around as a church people, as a community, as a neighborhood, as a friendship, as so many things, just walking around scared to tell people that we're going through things, scared to tell people that we're going through something, when we need it. Enough is enough. Y'all about to hear me sit on my soapbox for a second. Enough is enough with the I'm okay. Yeah. It's okay not to be okay. Absolutely. Perfection will tell you to put the mask on and dress it up real good. When divorce and perfection looks like being able to be honest with yourself, to be able to be honest with others and say, you know what? I've had good days, I've had bad days, and today's one of those bad days. Yeah. And being able to be open about it. We have to get to a point where we're okay with saying that things are hard. And right now, let me be clear, things are hard. It may look like we got it all together. That ain't the case. Things are rough. It's been a battle. Just the thought of driving up here to turn this camera on has been a cringe for 3 weeks because of the battles that I've had to face. But even in those spaces, I sat with myself, I meditated, and I even heard the Lord tell me, say, let them see your scars. Yeah. He didn't say let them see you bleed. Yeah. He said let them see your scars, which means that if there's a scar present, that means that healing is taking place. But people don't know how to heal because nobody's showing them how to do it. Yeah. You're so quick to say, and not you, I'm saying we, are so quick to say, oh yeah, I've been through that, girl, that's how you you do it. Sometimes they need to see you walk it out. I didn't say they need to see you bleed, but they need to be able to see you walk it out, and you have to walk it out. So to your point, you don't have to say, well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just that, you know what? Today's not a good day. Because you know what that makes you? You know what divorce and perfection MO makes you? It makes you human.
Yeah, absolutely.
But walking around on autopilot.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm fine, the Lord is good, and he's always good.
He is.
He's always good.
Yep.
But that is a cop-out to the person that needs to see that perfection is not okay.
Yeah, and I think it's important to dig down to the root, right? Because I think for me, especially, and I can't say that I'm a new Christian because I'm not, but I know when I first began to walk with Christ, I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to please my Father, right? Which when you think about it, it's really funny because that is not how God really expects for us to act. He doesn't. He's the perfection, not us. You know. So really, when you think about it, it's funny. But when God started to walk me through why I feel like I needed to be perfect, it really started at my childhood. And I think even as we go through this discussion, God was even showing me in this dispensation that it's really purging me of the residue of people pleasing, purging me of the, because with people pleasing, right? And then when you have people pleasing, it's connected to rejection, to abandonment, because I'm performing really for people because I was rejected. I'm performing for people because I was abandoned. And I think that if I do this thing, then they'll want me more, right? So I think a part of this is really you have to be courageous and really be able to do the introspect and say, is this something I'm still dealing with? And Lord, show me where the pinpoint is, right? Because as we go through this process, we have to turn away from where it started. It's not enough to say, okay, I was rejected at this job, right? Because we face rejection on a daily basis. And ultimately, if you really understand the walk, our Lord and Savior was rejected. He's still rejected today, so if you are a Christian and you're walking, and I know that it is expected to be rejected, but it still doesn't feel good. It's still not comfortable, right? But God will take you to a place where it stings less because you understand, because you really understand. If you really understand, if you know, I'll just say if you know. So I think, one really, really important part about this is really asking God, like, what is the source? What is the root, right? Because you don't want to get the little flowers up on the top. You don't want to get the stem, but you really want God to pull it by the root. And sometimes it takes a few times, right? Sometimes these things are so deeply embedded that God will continue to bring, it reminds me of, I got glass in my foot the other day. And I couldn't get it out my foot, but really it slowly comes to the surface, right? And I think about that. And the way I think of it is if it was stopping a bleed, right? Instead of you pulling out all of a sudden, it brings a little bit up. Your skin becomes the heel. You bring a little bit up, you do some more healing. Yeah. You bring a little bit up, and then it begins to heal, and then that way you don't bleed out. So I just wanted to point that out because I think that this is something that I've been encountering with even a lot of people in my friends group. They'll say to me, "Oh, I'm better." Or I'm healed because I'm not like I was right then. Okay, well, you were like 1,000 times toxic then, and now you're about like 100 times toxic, but you're still toxic. So there's still some work to do, right? And I think, and maybe I shouldn't use the word toxic, but I think that we need to be cognizant that it's just that it's a process. And even as Christians, I think it's important for people to see that we we continuously go through a process. None of us have arrived, right? And in order for you to actually like fully get purged of the things that are unlike God, to truly experience 100% wholeness, is if you show your imperfections.
Yeah.
And I'll say this last thing, and now so I was thinking about surgery, right? And who been in surgery with their clothes on? Like, that don't even make no sense. You can't go to surgery with your cute hat on, your lashes, your makeup. You know what? Your cute outfit. No. I've been in surgery before. I don't know if you guys have been in surgery before, but when you go to surgery, you got to get down to your birthday suit, right? And in order for God to do the work that he needs to do on us, we have to come before him in our birthday suit. Naked. We got to come before him naked. And our nakedness, meaning fully vulnerable, fully transparent, because he already know. Y'all already know he knows, but he wants us to give it to him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I love what you said about like tracing where the perfection started, because my mind started to journey. So where did perfection start? And for me, I wasn't always well received in many spaces. And I understand completely why now, but it wasn't always completely understood then. So I can say that I would hide the flaws. I would hide the flaws because if I hid them, it gave you nothing to talk about. So now I'm walking around flawed as I wanted to be.
Hurt, busted.
Okay, all types of stuff. But as flawed as I wanted to be, now putting on, all these different things to conceal, because you ain't fitting to talk about me. You ain't gonna have nothing to say about me. If you're going to say anything, it's gonna be all good things. That I forgot, like, hey, you're still human. So in my points of failure, I was crushed, I was upset, all of these things, because I have now told myself that in my head, I'm perfect. What you mean? Ain't it wrong, girl? I'm all right. Everything's peachy keen. When that, that is the trick. The trick is now, because you dressed it up so well, you choose to believe the perfection. And then you forget that, there are people, like, you do not learn from perfection. You learn from the failures. You learn from the mistakes. You learn from, I could have did it better this way. But if everything is perfect, how do we learn?
Exactly.
How does somebody else learn?
Exactly.
Consider that everything we learn in the academic setting, and however far you went in school, most times it was from somebody else's mistake.
Yeah.
But we've gotten to a point where perfection has just been easy, because we're on social media and everything looks perfect. Because we log into TikTok and everybody's world is perfect, and they spending thousands of dollars in a day and everybody's doing this, all these fun. We've created this facade of a space that says everything is perfect.
Yeah. There was something that happened actually within the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I remember I called my mom, and I was so upset, and I just started, but like, I was crying so hard, like, she couldn't even understand what I was saying at that point, and I was raised in a family where you don't cry. Like, you don't cry. And now I'm a crybaby, so you ain't got to worry about that. I be crying all the time. But but it was a signal. It was a signal of distress. And I believe that in that moment of transparency, because I was hurt. And it really didn't make sense to not hide the fact that I was hurt. But I think that when you have these interactions, it even allowed my mother to be able to be vulnerable on her end as well. And I think that's the reason why being transparent is important. Because imagine telling somebody that this thing happened to you, and the thing that was happening was bad. It definitely warranted tears, and then you just have a blank face. You just have a poker face. Like, first of all, they might think something wrong with you. Second of all, they're going to be like, oh, this is how I react to this situation. And going back to what my sister said about, the church, I found that even as I walked as an early Christian, I would be told, be authentic, do this, do that. But we have to make sure that, especially if we are, it don't matter where you are in the church, whether you're a leader, whether you're a member, that we understand what authenticity is. Because if you have someone who's teaching you what authenticity is and you're not authentic, it's really, and I don't think people don't realize the severity of this, but you're really bleeding on somebody because you're showing somebody how to put the mask on under the guise of authenticity, which really blocks the Father. Like, this is not like some light thing. It really does not allow the Lord to come in and do the deep cleaning or the deep surgery that he needs to do. So I wanted to start there, like, just to talk about just the consequences of not being transparent, right? Because and it doesn't mean like tell all your business, right? Like, we have to be discerning about the audience, about who we tell, like we talked about in the beginning. But it is definitely important to show, like, this is something that I go through, especially if God is telling you to share it, and this is how I got through it.
Yeah, because you know what? This is what perfection does. To your point, this is what perfection does. Perfection stunts growth. Perfection stunts process. Because if you can't admit in your safe spaces that something's wrong, you don't grow from it, you don't learn from it. The person that needs to learn from it doesn't learn from it. You even, in your perfection state, you miss out on a person that's supposed to help you through that process. Because let's just lay the baseline. We don't go through these things just for ourselves.
Right.
So understanding that walking around like, oh, nothing's wrong. What are you talking about? First of all, the right people can see right through you.
Exactly.
Can see right through you. But you missed out on somebody else's pour. And can I be completely honest? I am the first one in line when it comes to line up and get delivered from there.
Yeah.
Because I am, even with my own leaders, completely transparent. They can see something's wrong. They can see that I'm not my best self. They can see that I'm not showing up in the full totality of me. But when they ask, I say I'm fine.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point. You're not showing up in the full totality of yourself, and it begins to become so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, it literally begins to weigh you down, and it's just like, why carry it? Why carry it? And I think I do understand why it's easier to hold on. And I think, even diving deep down to perfection, right? Some of us feel like we can't be imperfect in front of people because we have been imperfect in front of people, and then they have not stewarded our testimonies well, or they have not stewarded our process well, or what was going on in our process. So I think we should speak a little bit to that, because what happens when you have people in your life who are trusted, because I think both of us can speak to that we did encounter people who maybe we're in their healing process because, give them a benefit of the doubt, who did not steward it well. Yeah. But we definitely have people in our lives right now who stored it well. And I can tell you, and I'm sure my leaders wouldn't mind me stating this, is that it was a process to get to the point where I could call my leader up and be like, this, and this is happening, right? Because you need somebody to be, in order for somebody to be able to cover you, you got to let them in, allowing them to know of the situation so that they can pray for you, or they can provide their experience in that situation, to be able to guide you. And I remember, because I came out of a season where that type of relationship wasn't stored well. It was difficult for me to open up so that I could show my scars, so that I can show my imperfections. So I just want to talk through that.
But that's good, because that comes with the process of learning how to divorce perfection, because perfection will tell you there's no one that understands. there's no one that'll understand me. Nobody has been through what I've been through, so I'm not talking about it because you're going to look at me like I'm crazy and I'm scared of being mishandled, so I'm going to say everything's okay when my whole world is crashing apart. That's perfection.
Yeah.
Walking away from perfection looks like there are people that are safe. There are people that can handle what I carry. Because here's a strong friend. Can I be honest? Here's a strong friend. Yeah, it's heavy, but I'm going to carry it.
Yeah.
Yes, I carry it well. Doesn't mean it's not heavy.
Yeah.
But walking away from perfection looks like, yeah, it's heavy, but I'm going to find a person that's not going to let me carry it. But together we're gonna let it go. You know, that's what it looks like. It looks like partnering with the right people, partnering with the right person, and we're not gonna carry it together because that person is going to be there to teach you how to let it go, so that you no longer have to wear the mask. So that you no longer have to say, you know, we talked about earlier about being on autopilot, so we don't have to say, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because that's literally, and I'm speaking about me right now. You know, I grew so accustomed to just saying I'm fine. To this day, in certain situations, I'm fine. All is well. Thanks for asking. Meanwhile, I get off the phone and I'm like, like a ball of tears.
Yes.
But understanding that there are people that can handle you being undone.
Yeah.
Because walking away from perfection, you're going to have to say, here's where I failed.
Yeah.
Here's where I didn't get it right.
Yeah.
And let's break this stigma that because you failed, that's it. That's the end all be all, that you're weak. That is foolery.
That's when God stepped in.
Yeah, but we've adopted this philosophy that, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we have to get to the point, and for some reason I'm feeling a pull for women right now, that we have to stop it. We have to be able to say, baby, this is hard. Girlfriend, sister, homegirl, whatever you call your friends, I'm not okay. This is hard. Yeah. And I had those moments where I literally called Kawana like, yo, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
Last week we were supposed to come back. I'm telling on me because it was me, it wasn't her. Last week we were supposed to come back and we had a completely different topic in place. And I called her Friday and was like, I can't do this. I won't do this. I'm not gonna sit up here in front of these people, in front of our audience, in front of our fellow pretty girls who we've built this virtual relationship with, and smile and say that I have it all together. I'm not doing it, so the show's canceled. And I literally could feel the Holy Spirit like, that's where I need you. Like, I need you to tell them that, again, walk them through your healing, not your bleeding, but tell them it's not okay. Yeah. Tell them it's okay to feel how you feel. Yeah. It ain't okay to stay there, but it's okay to have the feelings. The feeling is not sinful. Yeah. We got emotions. You know, we're going to get angry. We're going to get frustrated. We're going to get upset. Yeah. You know, we're not going to feel like it. And that is okay. The most important part of walking away from being perfect is being able to openly admit, I am not okay. And for the past 3 weeks, can I be honest? I have not been okay. Yeah. I have not been okay. And I'm not about to cry, y'all. Hold on.
It's okay. You better
like, I have not been okay. It has been hard. It has been rough. It has been frustrating. But you're not, and I'm sure I ain't the only person that feels like that. Right. And if you're out there and you feel that way, just acknowledge it because it's okay. They don't, like I said, it ain't necessarily okay to stay there, but it's okay to feel the feelings because this is how we break out of the cycle of being on autopilot and just saying, I'm fine.
Yeah. So let's talk through how we get through it. And I know for me, it really has, it's been facing some hard truths. I can say that the season that I am is probably some of it is my doing, and I think that it's difficult to when you have to face that. The thing that you're facing is the thing that you didn't face in previous seasons. So now you have to confront it. So I think for me, getting through the process is being truly, truly honest with self. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times, just going back a second, I think that people don't realize that divorcing the perfection is realizing that other people aren't perfect. Yeah. And that if you were mishandled in a situation, it may have been because they were going through a healing process as well, or that they thought that they were doing what they were supposed to do and they weren't. So I think it's seeing that holistically. But in this season, I had to face self and facing the fact that some of this was your doing, and not that exactly what happened was my fault, but it was something that I had to confront, so that I wouldn't have to deal with it any longer. And then I think that it's been just and anybody know me know I pray a lot. I pray all the time, but it's levels to this thing. And not that and hear my heart, not levels to level. I'm not leveling myself in the spirit with anyone, but it's definitely the word says deep calleth unto deep, and deeper and deeper and deeper we need to go, deeper depths and higher heights. So this is my season to go deeper in prayer and to get more vulnerable before the Father, and that vulnerability is really dealing with some things, dealing with how I felt about some things. And it's really, I think the beauty of coming to the Father imperfect is that he perfects you. So I can tell you transparently that there was definitely some remnants of people pleasing in my previous season, and the reason why that's so important is because people pleasing can lend to compromise. And when you think about compromise, and when I think about compromise, I've seen leaders who have been compromising, right? Whether it's been we were just talking about some folks, we ain't gonna say their names, who might have compromised.
Now don't let us look sketchy out here.
No.
We ain't talking about folks.
It'll make sense. But some folks who partner with folks they shouldn't have partnered with, and it was compromise. The higher we get up, the more influence that you get. As you have to make sure that you are well grounded in the Lord, because you could be compromised. Like that is the target for. Anyway, I'm going down a tangent, but my point is that I did not realize that this small thing could lead to compromise, right? And that is why the Lord wanted me to face it in this season. But I say that to say is that there will be no compromise in any shape, form, fashion. Like now, I don't care what it is, I'm gonna get with you. Even if I over-index, I'm going to apologize later for it, because there will be no compromising. So my point is that in that space of coming imperfect before the Lord and saying, wow, this and this happened. First of all, he can actually show you. He can show you the path to, and I don't want to say perfection, but him perfecting you, right? And you come out of it perfected through the Lord, So that is huge. That is huge to our process as believers, our process as being people, our process as a woman, because we want to be whole. And you cannot do that if you don't fully take it all off. Fully take all the layers off and just lay it all down on the line.
I think you made a good point. I was thinking about what you were saying, and I think there's a difference. So we have to discuss the difference, because perfected and perfect are two different things.
Yes.
We're constantly being perfected. There's always something that. Here's the difference. Perfect is almost like a title.
Right.
Perfected is an action word, because it's continual.
Right.
It's
a process.
It's a process. It's going to be work that's constantly done. There's going to be things that need to happen. There's going to be growth that needs to take place and progress.
Yeah.
Perfected is forward moving. Perfect stays stagnant.
Right.
Perfect stays still. Perfect thinks that it's all together and it's wrapped up with a pretty bow.
Yeah.
Perfected is like, oh, you know what? I'm still working on some things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that divorcing perfection looks like we are not perfect, but we're being perfected.
Right.
In each and every area of our lives.
Right.
In any endeavor, and whatever it may be, it's constantly being perfected, but it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And I also think that in that same line, There is a difference, and somebody asked this question on our Instagram page. Shameless plug, but if you're not following us on TikTok, on Instagram, there's all types of content, and we engage with you guys. We're always in the comments. But somebody had commented and asked a question. They asked, what is the difference between perfection and excellence? And I just love, shout out to you, girl, that asked that question, because it is such a great question. It's such an important question. And I think that, I guess if I had to put it plainly, perfection is you taking control, you having it your way. Excellence is doing it God's way. Perfection says I have to do what I think is best because I think, I believe, I want, I. Excellence is a partnership. Perfection, there's a sense of walking alone, when excellence is a partnership. Excellence is knowing that I may not always get it right, but I'm striving to do it well. Perfection says me. Excellence says we. It's definitely a partnership. It's definitely a connection where, it may not always be, the 1,000% that we aspire to have, but there's constant movement, there's constant progress.
Yeah.
There's even when we make mistakes, excellence says keep trying until you continually get it right. Whereas perfection is like, oh, I got this, I did that. This me, it's shine a light on me. Whereas excellence, there is a continual strive.
Yeah.
Where perfection is, I did it once and I got it next.
Yeah.
So I love you for that question, because that is important. You can strive to achieve excellence continually, but perfection is a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Perfection is, I did it, we're done.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, excellence is like, well, we landed our plane here, but I foresee that we can go here and here and here. Because we're never done.
Yeah, never.
Perfection says I've arrived. Excellence says I'm still growing.
Yeah, woo, that's good. And I think that the consequences of putting on the mask of perfection, it can manifest into all types of things. Anxiety, depression, even as serious as suicidal thoughts, because you are walking around with this mask on and it just starts to compound each other and compound each other and compound each other. You said something and I chuckled to myself because it reminded me of a past season. But it was a season where I was heavily dealing with anxiety and I was in therapy. And I remember really the root of that in that season was that I thought if I was angry, there were some things that went on my life in that point that I should have been angry about. But I would not express the emotion of anger because I felt like it would be dishonoring God. And I think that between our flesh and between the enemy rather, some of these things are perverted, right? Because, even the Bible talks about how the Lord was angered, right? Like the anger is emotion that he gave us, right? We're obviously not supposed to stay angry and we're not supposed to be sinful in our anger, but this is an emotion that he gave us. And I remember my therapist said, anger ain't do nothing wrong to you. She was like, it's okay for you to be angry. Obviously you have to process those feelings that go along with that anger, but it's okay for you to be angry. And I remember how literally in that season, it was really taking off the mask of, again, going back to, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. I'm really, really mad, girl, and really processing those feelings of anger.
Yeah, it's important. Perfection will tell you to hide everything.
Yeah.
It will. It'll tell you, what are you talking about? I'm not angry. Meanwhile, you clenching your jaws, you balling your fists, you ready to, it's like a soda. You shake it up, eventually it's going to explode.
Yeah.
But what does life look like walking just as you are?
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who doesn't even know that they're angry, doesn't even know that they are, because you know what I would say for me, and I really can't tell you what the catalyst other than prayer, but I didn't know that I was walking around with a mask. Like I had been so used to, I must have had like like 50 pounds of foundation on because the masks were so heavy. The persona was so heavy that I thought it was mine. I didn't even know it was a mask on. I didn't even know that I didn't feel comfortable just being me. So what would you say, in this process, what would be the starting point of somebody, one, who doesn't know that they have a mask on, and then two, someone else who has been affected by divorce, has been affected by being a single parent, has been affected by some type of other trauma, and they don't know that they haven't fully healed through that process?
I think that sitting with self is key. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're going to have to trace it because it's not going to always come right away. Mm-hmm. So I think that for somebody that has gone through something that has really taken their breath, that has really, and then you've kind of had to quickly recover because you got kids, responsibilities, bills, jobs, all those things. I think that introspection is the first order of business. You're going to have to decide, or not even decide, you're going to have to be honest with yourself. Because you can't be honest with nobody else if you haven't sat with yourself and done the work. So I think that introspection is the first order of business. And really being honest with yourself. Put the bills on the table for a second. Send the kids to bed early. And really sit with yourself and go, how do I really feel about this?
Yeah.
Because perfection is when you're struggling with perfection will always tell you, you don't got time to think about it, keep going.
Right.
Because you're perfect, remember, ain't no problems, get it together. You know, all of those things kind of enter into the thought process. But take all that off the table. Sometimes it's telling you, it's having your mouth or your mind think the opposite. Oh, there's nothing wrong. Oh, there are things wrong. Allow yourself to feel in that introspection. Because perfection, you ain't got time to feel. Because if you feel, you ain't perfect, and it's all gonna fall apart, and you're scared it's gonna fall apart because you don't want to tell people nothing.
Yeah.
So you're bottling up, you're keeping it together, you're concealing. Like, you know what they say on Frozen, conceal, don't feel. So you're an autopilot. Everything is fine. Because if I tell myself that everything is fine, that everything really is fine, I don't have to face nothing. But taking off what that looks like really saying, okay, how do I really feel? How do I really feel? If you're telling yourself everything is perfect, write down everything is not perfect. This is actually a therapeutic technique, but outside of therapy, this really does work. Oh, everything's fine, but I'm sad today. But I'm angry today. Like, allow yourself to begin to feel, and it's not going to all happen in one sitting. It is going to be a process. It is going to be I've been holding on to this anger for so long. I'm mad. Like, you're going to have to get honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that once you take the weight of perfection off of you and just tell yourself, and look, sometimes you got to look in the mirror and go, I'm not okay. And let it all fall apart. Let yourself cry. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself feel. Let yourself be self.
Yeah.
Not what you painted. Not, when like, I always use this example when I'm talking about perfection because this is how it is. We get up in the morning, we dress ourselves well for our jobs, opportunities, whatever we're doing for the day. We put on the makeup, every hair is in place, our favorite pair of pearls is on, the shoes is on, our earrings are on, all of these things. But we don't go to bed like that. So when we return home from work, the shoes, we take them off and scooch them at the door.
Right.
Earrings, if you're anything like me, earrings and jewelry go on the mantle till I go upstairs. When I do go upstairs, lashes off, makeup off, everything's off. We're getting everything together. To go to bed, you wash your face, you look in the mirror and you go,
yeah.
That's that moment right there. When you take off everything you said that you were, you take off the day, you take off the week. For some people, you're going to take off the months, you're going to take off the years, you're going to take off the decades, and you're going to allow yourself to feel.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell anybody that you're not okay if you don't know that you're not okay.
Yeah.
You can't.
And I think that's something that plagues our generation, and not even our generation, but even our parents' generation, is that we ain't even gonna talk about our parents' generation.
Oh, we're gonna go there because there's a line. Yeah. Because here's why we're the generation of the millennials, and this is why millennials, and I'm saying this strategically. This is why millennials struggle with with perfection the way that we do, because we came from generation of parents
don't ask,
don't ask, don't tell, sweep under the rug. What happens in this house stays in this house. So we've adopted this way, and our parents were so hurt by the things that they were going through. They also could not talk about. That we've adopted that. Well, I can't tell them that I'm going through something because they're already going through something. So if I tell them I'm not going through anything, that I'm perfect, that I'm okay, the house is together. I'm not adding to the issues that millennials have now taken on this baggage, this burden from generations before that we're now carrying on our backs. Still trying to make it through pandemics, through COVID, through 9/11, through bird flu, through H1N1, through the terrorist attacks, to all Baghdad, Iraq, Afghanistan, all these things that us as millennials have been through, have seen through. Our 9/11 is in my daughter's textbooks. We've lived through these things.
Dang, we old.
Don't do that.
Go ahead.
We live through these things saying, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Consider.
Yeah, and you know what I think what the catalyst for that is, because this was one thing that I was going to say, which was started my process for because I think that we're nose blind. I think a lot of us are nose blind. I think that a lot of us are surrounded by yes people. I'm not. My friends, my leaders, they will tell me about myself in a second, but a lot of us are surrounded by yes people, and that is bad for two reasons. One, you either got yes people in your circle because they want to see you at the same level, they don't want to see you do any better, or the yes people are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with, and they can't even begin to even tell you how to get out of said situation. So I would say that when I started the process of really wanted to, because I knew there was something wrong, I just didn't know what was wrong. And I don't want to say wrong, because I don't want to say like I was defective or something like that, but I wanted to be whole, is what I'm trying to articulate. But I asked God to show me, really. I mean, it was simple prayer. Lord, please show me me. And that's it. And he began to show me, and he still shows me, and I wanted to talk through this just for a second, because how he may show you. For me, it just depends on who you are, right? Because he'll speak to you in a way that you will understand. But I'm a very visual learner. I'm a very what's the thing that Apple got now? Immerse. Like they call it immersive sound. But in order for me to fully understand, I'm immersed in the situation. So a lot of times it's something that I see that I'm super, super irked with. And then the Lord be like, oh, that's you, fam. And I'm like, shocked and dismayed, clutching my pearls. So that a lot of times is how the Lord shows me. But I want to stop there and then bring it back to our generation, right? Because our generation, we don't ask the Lord about nothing, right? Let me couple that back. Some of us do, but a lot of our generation does not. A lot of it is internet gurus,
influencers. Oh Lord.
What's the stuff called? Shadow work, shadow journaling, shadow journaling. Like all these things that really does not. Some of it is not even God, and then some of it cannot fully get you to the root, so that you will truly be healed. And the reason why I say this is I go back to, there's a ton of people who, believers, non-believers, who are like, oh, well, I'm not as bad as I was yesterday, so I'm good. But you not. You really not. And you about one situation away from being triggered right back into the same situation. So I really wanted to emphasize that point there. Like if you really, really want to go down this process of like fully revealing yourself, fully being vulnerable, fully revealing yourself to the Father so that he can truly heal you, one, you got to be open to the process, which takes some courage. Two, you got to ask him. You got to talk to him. You got to cultivate a relationship with him. Yes, therapy does work. I'm a proponent of it. Therapy was amazing for me. It really was life-changing for me. And I wish I hadn't waited in my 30-some-odd years to actually go to therapy. So I'm not saying that therapy is not good, but I'm saying therapy and Jesus and a therapist. And therapy.
Come on here.
So that's my soapbox right there.
No, I agree, because I think that, our platform is called Pretty Girl Be Healed. And I think that part of healing and divorcing fill in the blank, and in this case is perfection, is in order to truly say you divorce perfection, in order to truly say that you're healed, you gotta be okay with saying that I'm not okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have to be. We have adopted a culture of just saying, like I said, just being on autopilot. Mm-hmm. The first step is just saying I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And living in that, owning that, loving yourself through it. Loving yourself through it. And it really, the journey to starting the work is openly admitting that you're not okay.
Yeah.
And then the necessary steps, like you said, therapy, prayer, all of these steps are so important. But before we can do any of that, you gotta just say I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Find that space. I'm telling you, as somebody that don't like being vulnerable. Take the book bag off your back.
Yeah.
Like when I say it's freeing, it is so freeing. One of the things that to your point about like how you're shown different areas you need to work on, I'll see it in other ways. Like it'll be like somebody's talking about something and I find myself in it. And it's like, oh, I thought I lived through that. It's like, yeah, you did. It ain't mean you got through it. Like you shoved it under the rug because you told yourself, I'm okay. Like it's all right. There are so many lessons over the past several months that I've learned from being able to say, oh, I thought I was through with it. I didn't even know. Can I be transparent for 2 seconds? Didn't even know I was struggling with rejection. Until something happened, and I was like,
yeah.
All this time, But part of unpacking that, Dora walked around with that backpack. Part of unpacking that backpack is like, oh, didn't even know that somehow, in that backpack was a rejection. In that backpack was stuff that I forgot about, honestly. But when I started being okay with vulnerability is when I realized that in that level of vulnerabilism, if that's a word, or vulnerability, I learned that, there are some rejection things there.
Yeah.
And you got to work on them. Because I'm ineffective in anything that I ever do if I can't say that to somebody. I am an ineffective witness, not only to my experiences, but the God that delivered me out of those experiences if I can't voice it.
Yeah.
If I can't come to full, complete honesty about it so that I can now say, oh, I'm dealing with it. And here's where I am with it.
Yeah.
I may not, not in my Martin Luther King era, not at all, but I may not be to the place where I've seen the end of it, but I can see the healing taking place as I'm journeying through it. Because we started at this journey of, yes, begin to tell about it, but it's not enough. We're kind of going back to the beginning of what we talked about. It's not enough to just say, oh, yeah, I'm going through it. Next time to talk about it.
Yeah.
You have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to talk about it. Because, again, it's not for us. If for real, if we're being serious, it was never, ever about us.
Right.
However, in order to not recreate the generation we came out of, we got to talk about it.
Right.
We got to talk about it, and this is the way we chose to express our vulnerabilities and to talk about it. But and it's so crazy that we're talking about it, and then you probably see us looking down at our phones. But I'm on YouTube right now, and I'm looking at the comments, and I'm inspired. And the reason why I'm inspired is because I ain't by myself out here in this road. And granted, I never thought I was by myself, but we've built a community and a connection with people, strangers we don't even know that we love so dearly, y'all. We love y'all.
Yes.
But, the level of vulnerability it takes to draw someone and say, you know what? We up here, we pretty girls that are healing. We don't have it all together, but we're journeying. And we're journeying together every week, even in the weeks that we ain't been here because, like I said, life was showing up. But we're here. And we're here and we're growing. We're showing you our scars.
Yeah.
And we're telling you we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're not, the day that we consider perfection is the day we say, pretty girls, we signing off, and we signing off for good. For good. That's it. That's all.
Take our last
It's
breath.
a wrap. Close the joint. What's the joint called? action, that's done, because we want to show you that, we're still on our journey.
Yeah.
We've accomplished so many things in that journey, but we still got work to do. And collectively, we're going to grow, we're going to move, and we're going to build together. But know that it's hard. Be so comfortable to openly admit this is hard, because not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping someone else to know that, one of the biggest shocks I've ever gotten in my life was journeying from the place of a teenager to an adult, because my parents shielded me from the hardships of bills. Anything I wanted, I got. Don't know, to this day, don't know how they did it. They worked their behinds off, yes. But there were things that I'm like, how you even do that? Because I'm a mama of 4 now and father, but legit. And I was shielded from understanding bills, responsibilities. I've thrown in the bag. Hashtag. Literally. I never wanted for nothing. But the shock of my life was becoming an adult and having to fend for myself, do for myself, and face harsh realities that I didn't know existed because my parents shielded me from it. So I think that instead of shielding our failures, our flaws, our scars, all of those things, we gotta talk about them. So the next generation don't walk up in here thinking that it's gonna be a cakewalk when you're gonna step through some mud, some muckiness. It's gonna get dirty. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to really work some things out. It's equally as important to show people your scars. Don't bleed on them, but show them your scars, because they need to see the healing in action. They need to see it in progress. They need to see that you don't have to have it all together, but you have to be journeying.
As you were speaking, I thought of 2 scriptures that really always get me through this process. One is James 1 and 2, and it says, well, it's not really just James 1 and 2, it's really the whole chapter here, but it talks about to consider it pure joy, our trials and tribulations. And really what it's talking about in that scripture is that it makes us full and complete. And one of the conversations that we had, before it makes you full and complete, which really is talking about maturity, spiritual maturity, but it also talks about how it builds perseverance and perseverance character. And as we go through these things, right, it's really God pulling these things out of us, right? Or really strengthening us for our later seasons. So I was telling my fellow pretty girl over here the other day, it might have been yesterday, it might have been today, I don't know. But I was talking about how if I did not go through the hard seasons that I went through before, I would not be able to stand as firm as I'm standing in this season. And when I tell you, that is the truest of the truest of the truest, because although it's hard, this time I'm equipped to fight. And because I'm equipped to fight, I'm gonna be victorious. The other thing is just the fact that it's hard. I think sometimes we get even, shocked by the hardness, but consider that God told us that it was going to be hard. He said there will be troubles in this world. I mean, he said there will be troubles in this world. But he also told us, but take heart. I have overcome this world. I have overcome this world. And I think that's important because, transparently, someone was praying for me, and they said the Lord is not someone. My leader was praying for me, and she told me that the Lord is changing her language, and really I believe that the Lord is changing my language to victory, and I think to being that I'll be victorious over the things that I'm facing. And I think that a lot of times as we're going through these hard seasons, as we're taking off the mask of perfection, we have to be careful about what we speak, because we have been given the authority, we have been given the power, and it comes through prayer, that comes through worship, right? And we have to speak over these things and tell them to go, be out, peace, because I have authority over you. So I just wanted to point those two things out, because have your go-to scripture or scriptures that you go to that pulls you back in, right? Because it's the one thing that I think we need to emphasize here is we have God, but it does not mean that I think that it's a misconception that because we have God, it's flowers and rainbows, and the things that we go through are easy, and it is not. You know, the season that I went through to prepare me for this season, I was like, God, why have you forsaken me? Okay, like I did not understand why I was going through it. There was some times where I was angry at God. I didn't understand what took place, and all of that. Even that, if you express that to Him, right? Because that is transparency. You know, there was even a weekend ago, and I'm like, Lord, you know, why you got me going through this again? You know, and not in a disrespectful way, but in a way because I truly, he know I don't understand. So why not tell him and have that conversation with him so he can have a conversation back with me? You know, even when you think about talking to your spouse or anybody else, you know, it's not religion. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about relationships. Yeah. And when you have a relationship with somebody, you have a conversation. And even as we talk about perfection, you can't have a genuine conversation if you're not telling the truth. Because let's talk about it. If you have on a mask of imperfection, a mask of perfection, you lying. You ain't telling the truth. And at the end of the day, we have to begin to tell the truth. Have these truthful conversations, not just with God, but also with the ones He's put in our lives so that we can truly experience the healing process.
Yeah, I agree. I think to kind of just put context to all that we've talked about tonight, I think it starts with us. Mm-hmm. It starts with us being honest. Yeah. It starts with us, you know, allowing people in. Yeah. You know, letting go of the mask. Yeah. And really, you know, healing well, not bleeding on others, but showing them how we heal. You know, being honest, unpacking the bags. Yeah. Walking away from perfection looks like you got to be able to say, I don't have this all together, and that's okay. Yeah. You know, you know, finding those safe spaces, somebody in the comments. And shout out to y'all in the comments tonight. My goodness, I'm excited. There's so many people that commented, so I do want to just say hello. And thank you for your insight. But somebody recommended a book on safe people. It's called Safe People by Dr. Henry Cloud. The viewer said that it's a good book teaching you how to find your safe space. So if you're interested and you want to check the book out, shameless plug, they're not paying us for this, but Amazon has some on this. But, you know, I think that you got to be able to walk it out so others can see that it's attainable. Right. Because I promise you, there are people around you that are walking in what they think is a level of perfection because they're scared to tell people that they're not okay. Yeah. But if you show them that even in having that feeling, you know, even in just acknowledging that you're not okay, there is freedom in it. Mm-hmm. There is liberty in it. It's, you know, it's okay. Yeah. It doesn't, you know, the fact that you're not okay, it doesn't stop there. Yeah. It's the comma, not the period. Yeah. It's the comma to your story. And while it may be rough, because I'll be honest, there's been some times I'm like, I'm frustrated, I'm over it, you know, all these other things. It's just the comma and an amazing story that is still being written because perfection tells us, oh, it's my book is finished. Mm-hmm. No, that's not. Release your control there because it's not even up to you to say it's finished. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not up to you to say it's done. Yeah. Divorce and perfection looks like it may not have gone according to the way I want it, but it is moving accordingly. Mm-hmm. It is moving accordingly. Yeah. And that is okay. Yeah. Through my frustration, through my hurt, through my pain, through my uncertainty, through my weariness. It's there. I acknowledge it. I'm working through it. And that's okay. We have to begin to build a community in and outside the church where people are comfortable saying, I'm not okay. Yeah. Yeah. You have to. And that's what divorce and perfection looks like. Yeah. Part one. Yes. Part one. Amen. This was good. Yeah, it was. This was really good. Really, really, really good. I want to shout out everybody. Like we don't get a chance to do this often, but everybody on, I'm not going to go name by name because there's quite a few of y'all tonight and I'm real excited. But everybody that's watching on Facebook, on YouTube, dialogue with us. You know, we love when you guys chat with us because it also adds value to the podcast. It adds value to the perspective. So dialogue with us. Meet us in the comments on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, meet us in the comments on YouTube. If you don't have a chance to watch, to sit down because we got kids and responsibilities and jobs and all of those things to sit and watch the video, remember that we also upload the audio to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all those other streaming platforms. So join us there and dialogue with us. Shout us out on Instagram we're at prettygirl_B_Hill. On TikTok, we're at prettygirlb, and right here on Facebook and YouTube, we're prettygirlb_Hill. So we want to dialogue with you. So meet us in the comments, meet us in the chat, and let's dialogue about how we're going to move forward, even in our frustrations while we're divorcing perfection.
Yes.
We invite you to come chat with us. We're human. We ain't influencers and all the things where we just want your likes and follows. No. We're journeying through this healing together. So let's talk about it. Let's be a safe space. Let's be a community where we really dialogue, because we need each other. I need you. You need me. So let's do it together.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well. Whew. I thought that vulnerability was going to take me out, y'all. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But thank you, guys. Oh, yes, Lady T. Do it anyway. Do it afraid.
Yes.
Somebody said, thank you, pretty girl, in my John B voice. Thank you, In Love with Kells. Thank you so much. We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. Like we said, meet us in the comments. Let's dialogue. We look at each and every comment, and we like, love, share, comment. We want to engage with you all. And we will be right here next week at 9 p.m. No matter what's vulnerable and all, we will be here. And we also have some exciting things planned coming up in the future. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up. 1 year of Pretty Girl Be Healed. So we do have some exciting things coming up. So stay tuned for a flyer. We would love to see our community come and support us on our 1-year anniversary. So stay tuned for the details. Stay tuned for the drop, because we have something amazing coming up. So I wanted to put that out there, and shout out to all of you for being great and rocking with us for this past hour. And until next time, we will see you next week. Bye, pretty girl.